Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from John. And John writes this: Dear Ollie, can you do a video on your early life before 18? What it was like growing up, your parents, the school, teachers, and the society. What were the kids like, other adults, also the overall thinking at the time? So, like I said in my last video, you guys really need to go back and watch my early videos. And what would really encapsulate, and I'm going to go through it in this video, don't worry. I'm not just going to send you to different videos. But after this video, what you should do is, and I'll leave a link to the first one, is go back to the first speaking video I ever did. This channel started with me posting phone call from narcissistic mother, and then maybe 6 months after I posted that, and that was recording was already like a year or two old by the time I had posted it. I had just had it. I had done a video in the old place, and this is going on 11 years now, because I just went and rewatched the first one. I was 40 when I did my first video, my first speaking video. I'm turning 51 in 15 days on the 15th. So it was 11 years. We're going to be 11 years into this at this point. First speaking video I did, and it was actually a series of 6 videos. My life with narcissistic parents, number 1, and it goes 1 through 6. And that's the first videos of me speaking on cam about my family, my experiences, my growing up. So I would say like the first 50 videos on my channel, if you just go through them in order, is just going to take you through a progression of different videos of my early life, of my childhood, of school, friends, and all that. But you know, I'll do a recap here, but I would definitely go back and check those out because it really shows you where I was. And the video quality is bad and the sound because it's just me talking into a cheap webcam on a laptop at that point. And this is what, I guess that was 2012, 2014, 2013, back then when I was doing that. So, and you know, the other thing you got to realize, especially in that first video, I am blazed out of my goddamn because it was the only way I could make those videos when I first started was to smoke a lot of pot and start recording about my life, because it was like I was in a bad place at the time. You know, I had lost my job. I couldn't find any type of work. Couldn't even get any interviews. Couldn't get. I mean, it was just I was just in a bad place, and you know, it's really how the channel got started. Like, let me just try to work this out. Now I have some other videos, and I gotta find them. They're on a hard drive somewhere of videos I never posted while I was still working, of just trying to work things out about what was going on and how miserable I was, and it was just me talking like a video diary. I imagine those must be pretty goddamn wild. I wish I could find them, but they might be lost forever. But it was with that in mind that I decided, like, let me just start talking into a camera, posting it on YouTube, and see what happens. And it caught fire. I can't say it didn't. So, you know, the first thing you got to understand about me as a child and with dealing with my parents is I never liked them, which is a counter to most people on this channel who write into me. They were trying to win their parents' love. I figured out very, 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 very early in life that my parents were about themselves, selfish, abusive, and it was really at that time more my mother than my father. But my father, you know, He had, he did his shit too. But it was my mother who, like, I just hated. I fucking despised my mother since 4 years old. Despised her. Didn't want to be her. Like, just the sight of her would just make my stomach turn and my heart sink, because she was just such an abusive monster. And and I've said this so many times, like, you can't put into words the chaos that was my mother. You could warn people before meeting them, and they're like, yeah, okay. Until you meet her and you experience her, you don't get it. Because it's happened time and time and time again. Charlene will tell you, my brothers, and my brothers, even my brother's wife would tell you, oh my God, we were warned, we didn't understand. And how would you how would you even put that into words? How would you even put that into words? You can't. You just have to experience. You just had to experience what it was with her. Because it never stopped. You could feel the chaos. It was just like this ball of chaos at all times, everywhere she goes, and it never got shut off. Never. From the time she woke up to the time she passed out drunk at night, it was chaos. Rinse, repeat, start over the next day. I was somebody, and as a kid, I would just regress into myself. I would do anything to stay out of that house. Anything to stay out of that house. My mother specifically threw me into kindergarten at 4 years old. And I think I was born in November, so I started at 4. I turned 5 in November in kindergarten, whereas everybody was 5 turning 6, so everybody was a year or two older than me in my class. And also because my mother didn't want to pay for it, she never put me into any type of preschool, no nursery school, no early learning, no real socialization in a school setting whatsoever. So my first 4 years of my life were just me and my mother and her fucking craziness inside that house, her absolute lunacy. Other than when she would just throw me out to go out and play with my friends, because there were a lot of kids on the block. Okay? But the second I was back in that house, it was right back to fucking chaos. And where the chaos would start, my mother was always on the phone. My father would call it the blower. Gossiping, talking shit about people, getting into fights with friends, okay, running through friends, running in friends groups, having the friends groups dissolve and having them kicked out. But more than anything, my mother would be on the phone most of the day with her mother, fighting with her mother, competing with Virginia. She'd slam that phone down, and here she would come. You'd hear the stomping, and here it comes, and she would just start hitting me, just start screaming at me, just start pulling me off the couch by my hair, whip me around, slap, for nothing. And she'd be hitting me, and she's beating me, she's hitting me, and you will listen to me, and you will but she wasn't yelling at me, she was yelling at her mother, beating me, because she was pissed off at her fucking mother. Made me a real shitty student. I didn't want to be there either, because I didn't know how to interact. So when I was all my friends were still in nursery school and preschool, okay, and then as school I moved on in grades, all my friends were a year behind me. So I had no real friends in my class because I was younger than everyone else. I was more immature than everyone else. So I was constantly getting picked on. picked on by the teachers, picked on by the kids. So I didn't want to be in school either. The only place I wanted to be was outside. Outside with my actual friends, away from everybody. So it just made my entire youth and juvenile, my entire juvenile years just miserable. Other than when I was with my friends. And I had four main friends from the time I would say I was, 5 or 6, from 5 or 6 till the time I was 15. And that was Frankie, Scott, and Dave. The four of us we ran together, playing football, playing wiffle ball, running around, going to 7-Eleven, playing video games. I never played video games because I never had video games. So I didn't want to play something at someone else's house and then have to leave and then go home and be miserable. And my friends all knew how shitty I had it with specifically my mother, but my father too, and I'll get into that a little bit as well. Because my mother was so fucking crazy, screaming and yelling. Okay, we'd be out playing for hours, playing football at the Horn Tower, playing wiffle ball, playing manhunt, playing whatever, running around, jumping bikes, riding around, doing whatever. And then they'd want to go to the candy store. They'd go to 7-Eleven for a big gulp and play some video games. All of which my mother would just refuse to give me money. Refuse. Here, no, we have Kool-Aid. You don't need... It isn't about the drink. It's about going to 7-Eleven with your friends, hanging out at the candy store, playing video games. It's like, well, we have an Atari. I'm like, yeah, we have an Atari with 6 games. They all have Atari, Nintendo, ColecoVision, Intellivision, okay, with 50 to 100 games each. Okay, nobody wants to fucking hang out here and drink your fucking colored water Kool-Aid, because your Kool-Aid didn't taste like Kool-Aid because you used just enough sugar to change the color of the water. That was it. You were drinking colored water because like I said, and I've told you this before, only assholes follow the instructions, because there's some ulterior motive, some kind of conspiracy in the Kool-Aid, in the serving size, in the directions, to get you to use more than you actually need to use. So you have to buy more fucking Kool-Aid. And it was never Kool-Aid anyway. It was always the goddamn generic brands. And some of the generic brands are fine if you use them correctly. And it wasn't like we were poor. We weren't poor. We had money and my parents were fucking loaded. They're just cheap. Cheap with me, not with themselves. Cheap with me, not with themselves. People would come and they drink the Kool-Aid. They're like, there's something wrong. Like there's no sugar in it. Like, what is this? Like, it's colored water. Like, that's purple. That's purple Kool-Aid. Like, it don't taste purple. It tastes like colored water. Well, yeah. So you'd have to sit there, watch your friends get a big gulp, watch your friends get Slurpees, go to the candy store, go buy candy. None of which I was able. Just had to stand there and watch. And they felt bad. They'd share, and I wouldn't really want, because I didn't want to. And my mother had no choice but to admit to all that. She knew it. She's like, yeah, I never gave you and she's like, I didn't want you to have it better than me. She knew how damaging it was, because what it was, now that I remember, she complained how her mother wouldn't let her go to the fucking same candy store, mind you, because there was only one town over, where she grew up. The same candy store, mind you, that me and my friends would go to. I'm like, how many times have I asked you for money? And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, I guess I just didn't want you to have something I didn't. Yeah, I guess I never did give you money for a big gulp or give you money. And because my father had chimed with it, overheard and chimed in on it. And because, I guess everything was time and place with them. Because if he was actually pissed off with her over something, he would jump in and attack her as well. It's like, yeah, you were cheap. Yeah, you never did give him money. Yeah, Laura. Yeah, Laura, it wasn't about whether or not he's thirsty. It's about going out with, it's about being 10 years old and getting a Slurpee with your fucking friends. And don't act like you didn't understand it. Because she absolutely admitted it. Because she, once my father would call her out, like, okay, yeah. She also had to admit all the names she called me because there was no denying that. She called everybody fucking names. Yeah, I called you names. That was her thing. Yeah, Matthew, we know. We called your name. I called your names, and I never gave you money, and I made you have to be a pariah with your friends. Sit out of everything. Gee, thanks. Go back and watch those videos. So my friends, they all knew. They all knew how bad I had it. And then as we got a little older, and here's the thing, like my one friend Dave's mother went to high school with my mother. And they had issues. They didn't like each other. So my mother didn't like me hanging out with him, and it ended up being because it was his mother that let the cat out of the bag about my parents having sex and having fucking pool sex parties with their friends, having sex down on the Little League diamond. It was Grace who did that, who let it out because she got pissed because we were 14 and we decided to sleep over at Dave's house that night because we had girls we wanted to go. We had girls. Scott was dating this girl Linda, was dating Linda Romanelli, and I think she had Stacy Scroy and someone else there. So we were gonna go sneak out and hook up at 14. Okay, and Grace woke up, and Grace used to sleep like a goddamn log. Somehow she wakes up in the middle of the night, sees we're not there, goes out, as we're on our way back. Okay, and when we got back, she's all up in arms, and for some reason she's blaming me. She's blaming me and my mother, and what a piece of shit my mother is, and what trash my parents are, which she was right. But that had nothing to do with the situation of why she was doing what she was doing. She had high school issues with my mother. My mother had high school issues with her. And she was friends with another set of friends, a set of my parents' friends in that friends group who were offended when everybody just started fucking in the pool and left. Okay, well, they went and told Grace. And then Grace just lets it out of the bag that all this shit's going on, and now it's out for the public. So that kind of fucked up the friendships. On top of that, then you have my father, who had to insist on coaching every fucking baseball league that I was in, even though he fucked up the entire experience. Scott is on. When we're in Babe Ruth, Scott's on our team. And my father gets into a fight with Scott, starts yelling at him, bullying him around, and Scott's parents were divorced, Dave's parents were divorced, and he's trying to act, and Dave was on the team too. Now that's right, Dave was on the goddamn team too. My father's trying to act like some kind of superior father figure, on I guess both Scott and Dave, which I'm sure kind of motivated Grace on the same time, because you're a fucking degenerate. Who are you? And now he's getting in Scott. Now I got now I got my father getting in my friend's face on the bait. Like, it just, not that it ruined the friendship. I mean, that was a point where I think the four of us kind of just went, not our separate ways. We started hanging out, not in different groups, like subgroups. It's just so chaotic. It was so chaotic. I mean, this is the 80s. I mean, this is the height of, I mean, this is when the boomers were in their heyday as well. Trying to control their kids' lives, live vicariously, doing whatever they were doing. And in the meantime, my parents were going through friend groups like water, like they always did, which I'm sure they did right up until the point where my mother died. And that's when I started. It was around 15. I started hanging out with my friend Matt, and we started, and we knew each other, but he always went to Catholic schools. So at that point, I was going to public school. He was going to Catholic school. He was going to Bergen Catholic. And his parents also had houses down the shore, down on Long Beach Island, the same island. And it was down at it was down at the swim club, and we just started talking. He's like, "Hey, want to come over, hang out, And then when I went over to his house, my God, like his parents were just, and I did a video, "The Narcissist Doesn't Fool Everyone," where I talk about how his parents basically saved me from killing myself one day because of the shit my mother did. It was his parents that called my parents and were like, "What is your problem with this kid? What is your problem? He's a good kid, and all you do is try to make him miserable." Because they weren't going to let me go down the shore for Memorial Day weekend because my mother tried to force me to go to work on my one day off from track and working at ShopRite. And here she comes. I told her, "Don't be taking any calls from ShopRite telling me I'm going to accept extra hours. I just want to go play stickball. That's it." And 40 minutes into playing stickball, me and Matt down at the VFW, here she comes with that fucking and I just took the stick. And I fucking snapped the goddamn bat. I'm like, "No, god damn you. What is this? This is my one day off." "Nope, you're going in. You're going to get it." I'm 15. What do you care for? I had money in the bank at that point. It wasn't like I was paying for anything needed to be done. She just didn't want me having fun with my friend because she didn't, she thought I spent too much time at Matt's house. Why are you always hanging out with him down in his basement? What's wrong with here? I would tell them right out, "This place sucks, and I will do anything to stay out of this fucking house." He's got computer games. He's got a computer. He's got a pool table. He got ping pong. He got 2 pinball machines. He's got cable TV in the full finished basement, cable TV with a full kitchen down there and a refrigerator and a bat. You don't even have to go upstairs for nothing. Except for his mother bringing us food, bringing us drinks, whatever we freaking want. Could go out in his backyard, play basketball. He had a basketball hoop. Never had a basketball. I always wanted one. Never had one. Another thing that was promised never came through. And it was when that happened, and then my mother made me get in the car, and I'm like, "I'm not going. I'm not." And then my father calls the house from work. "If you don't go, I'll break your legs, and you're going to do." And here I am, getting fucking driven the fucking shitty ShopRite to go push carriages at 15 for an extra day. For what? Making $4.50 an hour. Making for $4.50 an hour. For nothing. And then they tell me I can't go down the shore for Memorial Day weekend. And that wasn't because Matt didn't, he had good parents. He's like, no, this is bullshit. This is bull, because he worked at ShopRite too. He got a job at ShopRite because I got a job at ShopRite. And he went to his parents. He's like, this is bullshit. And his parents called my parents and were like, nah, no. What is your problem? And then when I got home, I got home from work that day, because that's right. Because I had told him at Shop, because we were at work. I told him at ShopRite, and he was getting off. He got off like 2 hours before I did. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, they're not letting me go. Like, he's like, over that. He's like, no, this is bullshit. And I had already made the decision in my mind, like, I'm just going to go home and I'm going to swallow whatever's in the goddamn medicine cabinet, because I can't live like this anymore. And when I walked in that house, the look of panic on my mother and father's faces. What did you say? What are you telling these people? Why are they, you can go. Like, you told me absolutely, I begged you for days to let me go. What do you mean? They were telling us what horrible parents we are, and how everybody in town knows we're horrible parents, and we're abusive, and well, you got them snowed, boy. You got them eaten right out of the palm of your hand. Like, wow. Wow. So there's somebody else does see it. Adult-wise. And actually, it's one thing to make a comment. It's another thing to somebody actually confront my parents on my behalf. It was a very powerful moment for me. Oh, did they not like it? Oh boy, did they not like being told and exposed right to their face. But that's what happened. You know, and listen, the school, the teachers, they were awful as well. You know, this was the boomer college prep time. So every square peg was being forced into a round hole, the college prep hole. And if you didn't, well, all he does is, he's so smart, he's so bright, but all he does is look out the window. Yeah, because you're boring as fuck. If you can't hold an 8-year-old's attention, that's not the fault of the 8-year-old. That's your fault as the teacher. If you can't hold a 10, 12-year-old's attention, okay, because you're boring the shit out of them, that's not the 12-year-old's fault. That's your fault, because you're a shitty teacher. And you still can't figure out that these kids are getting abused at home or getting neglected at home. They brought in the child study team for me in 4th grade. Child study team said he's near suicidal. Why is he like that? And again, this is why I go off on these estranged parents. That, I don't know. We're wonderful parents. We give him everything. He has a beautiful home and this and that. And like, what? What? I mean, holy shit. I mean, that's probably what triggers me a lot with these estranged parents channels. Is they told her, did I think I was suicidal in 4th grade? I don't know. The child study team sure as hell did. And I think they probably wanted to medicate me, and my mother didn't want to medicate me, which is probably the right move, but for the wrong fucking reasons. Even when they do right, it's for the wrong goddamn reasons. Because understand something, the overall, like you said, you want to know the overall thinking at the time. The overall thinking at the time was about the boomer parents. It was about their partying. And again, like, my friends were feral. Gen X is a feral generation. We were put out on the street. We ran the streets, okay, until all hours. And the boomers just, they didn't care. So, I mean, that's the best recap I could give you. But I would suggest you go back on my channel and look up my early videos, My Life with Narcissistic Parents, 1 through 6, and then watch a few more after that. Watch The Narcissist Doesn't Fool Everyone. That's where I really get in depth into the story about my friend Matt's parents when they confronted my parents. So I keep telling you, you can't just stay on the current videos. You gotta go back and understand this channel's history to really understand, how it's progressed and who I am and why I think the way I do, and why I say the things I do from because of the experiences I've had. So, hope that helps. Thank you, John, for another contribution and topic. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my Rumble channels. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.